The best husband. One day a woman came to a priest and said,
"You married me and my husband 2 years ago. Now divorce us. I don't want to live with him anymore."
What is the reason you want a divorce?
The priest asked. The woman explained.
All husbands come home on time, but my husband is always late. Because of this, there are fights every day at home.
The priest, surprised, asked,
Is that the only reason?
Yes, I don't want to live with a man who has such a flaw.
The woman replied,
I will divorce you, but on one condition. You go back home, bake a big delicious bread and bring it to me. But when you will bake bread, do not take anything from your house, salt and water and flour please ask from the neighbors. And be sure to explain to them the reason for your request.
The priest said. The woman went home and immediately got down to business. She went to her neighbor's house and said,
Oh, Mary, lend me a glass of water.
Have you run out of water? Isn't there a well dug in the yard?
There is water, but I went to the priest to complain about my husband and asked him to divorce us.
Explained the woman, and as soon as she finished, the neighbor sighed.
Oh, if you only knew what kind of husband I have.
And began to complain about her husband. Then the woman went to her neighbor Asa to ask for salt.
You're out of salt, just 1 spoonful?
I have salt, but I complained to the priest about my husband, asking for a divorce.
Said the woman, and before she could finish, her neighbor exclaimed,
Oh, if you only knew what kind of husband I have.
And began to complain about her husband. So, no matter whom this woman went to ask, she heard everybody complaining about their husbands. Finally, she baked a large, delicious bread, brought it to the priest, and gave it to him, saying,
Thank you, taste my labor together with your family. Only do not think of divorcing me from my husband.
Why, what happened, daughter?
The priest asked.
My husband happens to be the best in our town.
The woman answered him. About a happy family. 2 families live next door to each other in a small town. One couple quarrels constantly, blaming each other for all their troubles and figuring out who is right. The others live in peace and have no quarrels or scandals. The obstinate lady marvels at her neighbor's happiness and, of course, envies her. She says to her husband,
Go and see how they manage to make everything go smoothly and quietly.
He came to the neighbor's house, lurks under the open window and listens. And the hostess was just tidying up the house. She was wiping off the dust from the expensive vase. Suddenly the phone rang. The woman was distracted and put the vase on the edge of the table, so that it was about to fall. But then her husband needed something in the room. He hit the vase, it fell and broke.
Oh, what will happen now?
The neighbor thought. He immediately imagined what a scandal that would cause in this family. The wife came over, sighed with regret, and said to her husband,
I'm sorry, darling.
What's the matter, honey? It's my fault. I was in a hurry and didn't see the vase.
It's my fault, I was so careless with the vase.
No, it was my fault. Well, all right. Only if we could not have a greater misfortune.
The neighbor's heart ached. He came home upset. His wife comes to him.
That was fast. Did you see it?
Yes, I did.
What's it like in there?
They're all wrong. That's why they don't fight. With us, everybody's always right.
The story about long married life. An elderly couple who were celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary were asked how they had managed to live so long together. After all, there was everything, hard times, and quarrels, and misunderstandings. Their marriage was probably on the verge of falling apart more than once.
It's just that in our time broken things were repaired, not thrown away.
The old man smiled in reply. A fragile love tale. Once a wise old man came and stayed in a village. He loved children and spent a lot of time with them. He also liked to give them presents, but he only gave them fragile things. No matter how hard the children tried to be careful, their new toys often broke. The children would get upset and cry bitterly. As time passed, the wise man again gave them toys, but even more fragile ones. One day the parents could not stand it and came to him.
You are wise and wish only good things for our children. But why do you give them such gifts? They try as hard as they can, but the toys are still broken, and the children cry. But toys are so beautiful, it's impossible not to play with them.
It won't be long.
The old man smiled.
And someone will give them their heart. Maybe that will teach them to handle this priceless gift a little more carefully.
Different climates. On a hot summer night, the whole family was sleeping in the garden. Suddenly the mother saw that her son and her daughter-in-law were sleeping in a tight embrace. It was beyond her strength to watch, so she shook the young couple and cried out.
How can you cling to each other in such a heat? It will kill you both. Come on, lie down separately.
Meanwhile, in another corner of the garden, her daughter was sleeping with her favorite son-in-law. However, these newlyweds were sleeping separately from each other, so the mother tiptoed over to them and whispered caringly.
My dears, it is so cold outside, and you are sleeping apart. Why don't you warm each other in a warm embrace?
These words outraged her daughter-in-law, and she straightened up and spoke loudly.
Oh, Almighty God! Your wonders are incomprehensible. In one garden there is such a different climate.
A jealous husband. One man has been very jealous of his wife and did not leave her side for fear of being deceived. So his wife decided to teach him a lesson. She called a neighbor, persuaded him to hide in the barn, and began to knead dough. Meanwhile, her husband sat next to her and watched her. Suddenly, the woman said,
I need to go outside. Untie the belt on my pants, because my hands are dirty.
The man fulfilled her request, and she left. When she returned, she said this.
Remember, my husband, if a woman wants something, she will certainly get it. I have never deceived you and I am not going to deceive you, although I could betray you right now. You didn't even know that a neighbor was sitting in our barn, so I could have gone to him quite nicely. And you wouldn't have cared, and moreover, you took my clothes off yourself. So is it worth keeping an eye on your wife?
I'm sorry.
The man said sincerely.
Now I realize that it is impossible to outsmart a woman.
From then on, he trusted his wife and has never been jealous of her. A boy in love and a proud beauty. A young boy lived in a village. He had fallen in love with the first beauty in the whole region, deeply but with no answer from the side of the girl. The girl owned the hearts of almost all the boys in the area and was very proud of her attractiveness. Then the boy decided to become a warrior, strong and brave.
Having seen a mighty soldier, in uniform, with awards, the girl would become my wife,
thought the boy. And he went to the city, to soldier service. He made his way into officers, distinguished himself in battles, matured, and returned as a hero to his native village. Nevertheless, the girl did not even look in his direction. However, she did not choose her betrothed either. Then the young man decided to become rich.
The girl would certainly not be able to resist expensive gifts.
He entered the service of a merchant as a bodyguard, and learned from him. Soon he opened his own business, got rich and returned to his native village as a respected merchant. However, the girl indifferently accepted his gifts, only showing offerings that are even more generous from other candidates for her hand. Then the man decided to gain wisdom. He left all his wealth to his family and went out into the world in search of wisdom. He returned after a few years to his native village, having a reputation as a man of wisdom. However, he did not go to the house of the beautiful girl, but began to live quietly, sharing his wisdom with others. Time passed, the girl never got married, considering all proposals unworthy of her beauty. Nevertheless, the flow of days was relentless, and every new day the mirror reflected that woman's attractiveness was fading. No one wanted to marry her. Her exaggerated pride and conceit scared people away. When the woman was left alone, she came to the wise man and asked him,
"Do you want to marry me?"
The wise man said,
"Yes."
People were indignant.
Why do you marry a grumpy old woman who has done you so much harm?
The wise man smiled.
I see only good. If it were not for her, I would never have become what I am now.
The Princess in Rags. The king announced that the princess's husband would be the one who would love her all her life. On the appointed day, hundreds of suitors gathered at the palace. Each wanted to prove that he would love the princess forever. The girl looked at the dressed-up young men and wondered. Then she called for her teacher and had a long talk with him.
"I will not speak to the grooms today,"
the princess announced.
"Divide them into groups. Let the first group come tomorrow evening. In the afternoon I will study with the teacher."
Daughter, you've already graduated.
The queen wondered.
"It's never too late to learn,"
replied the princess. The teacher's house stood near the road. When the first groom, a noble knight on horseback, passed by, he saw a beautiful beggar with a basket of flowers by the road. Seeing the knight, she asked,
"Buy a bouquet, young man."
Get out of the way, beggar!
The knight shouted and rode away. So did all the young men who rushed that day to the palace. In the evening, the sad princess was receiving the suitors. After saying a few words, she immediately sent them away. The same thing happened on the second day and the third.
Daughter, why do you send everyone away?
The queen asked anxiously.
"They are incapable of seeing beauty, mother."
A month passed. All the grooms of the last group gathered at the palace, only one groom and the princess herself were missing. They appeared together, and the princess announced that she had found her betrothed. Then she told the queen,
"My teacher told me, the love of the one who loves you in rags will last the rest of your life." Every day I changed into old clothes and waited for suitors by the roadside. Only this young man stopped and bought a bouquet from me. He told me I was beautiful.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like and comment the video. Thank you very much.